What's going on, everybody? My name is Ryan Snaadt, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you some of the best GoPro photography tips and tricks. My hope is that after watching this video you're going to look at some new ways that you can capture some amazing GoPro photos. I'm going to give you guys some of the best settings and tips for actually capturing the best photos possible, as well as some unique perspectives and things that a lot of people are not doing. So make sure to stick around to the end of the video and let's go. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, I make videos that help you grow your brand with video. And in today's video, we're not talking about videos, but we're actually talking about photos. A lot of people buy GoPros on the assumption that they're gonna go do some really cool stuff they wanna document. But the harsh reality is that a lot of us get busy and we do not have time to actually go out and film some amazing things or take great photos underwater or cliff jumping or whatever kind of crazy stuff that people assume they're going to do when they buy these things. My hope is that after watching this video today, you're going to dust off your old GoPro and go find some really cool ways you can use it and take some amazing photos with it. The one that I'm going to be using for a lot of these demos in today's video is actually a GoPro Hero 4 Silver Edition, but I'm just trying to make a point here that this is the 4. I mean, they've had a 5, 6, and now a 7, so this is 3 generations prior. And it just goes to show that you do not have to have an amazing piece of equipment to get great photos. You just have to think a little bit differently and use what you have to the best of your ability. So without any further ado, let's get into the tips right now. Utilize and maximize the versatility that these things have. Most people just take the typical shot. So I urge you guys to not take the typical shot with a GoPro. These things are so versatile. They're waterproof, they're shockproof, dustproof. You just put them in the housing and they go literally anywhere. Really consider how to utilize that versatility to the most of your ability. I would definitely suggest having a subject in your photo. GoPros are really great when you're using that wide angle fisheye lens to get a very large understanding and large perspective of what the landscape is that you're shooting in. Put a person in the shot to make it much, much more interesting. In my experience, just having the person ignoring the camera and just doing something that comes natural to them makes the photo look as authentic as possible. When you have it in a wide angle setting, you can capture much more of the actual landscape, so you can show more of what's going on in frame. So use this to your advantage, take landscape photos, try and capture everything that's going on in the scene in that one picture. These might be some more basic photography tips, but I think they're noteworthy to put in there. You definitely want to take into consideration the rule of thirds, which a lot of people know, but I will cover right now. When you cut your camera frame into thirds, there's going to be a cut here, straight across and down. So what you want to do is line your subject up on those lines, and it just makes it more of an appealing aesthetic shot when you take that picture. Sometimes using this rule of thirds really does make your photos pop quite a bit. The other aspect you might want to work into your photography is using motion. If there's something moving in the shot, sometimes that makes it more interesting. So whether you're on a swing or you're splashing water or you're diving into something, we have to remember these cameras are action cameras. So making the scene as interesting and action-packed as possible is very, very helpful for you. Another perspective that I love doing with GoPros is shooting inside out of something. Think putting the camera in a mailbox, in your shoe, in a backpack, in the cup on a golf green. There are so many different unique ways you can put a GoPro in something and kind of get that unique perspective that a bigger camera would never be able to do. A lot of people take their GoPro photos completely landscape, which is normal, taking them just side to side like this. But some things that I've started doing here recently, knowing that I'm shooting the shots for Instagram, is that I'll turn it vertical. Because you have this wide angle lens, if you do shoot it vertical, you have a lot more landscape to work with on Instagram, so you can get those big fat images. So now if you're curious about how to get that look, that's a separate video which I will link up in the card above. I did a couple months ago, but it's just showing you how you can edit, color correct, and upload those photos to Instagram to get the biggest photo possible. So if you're wanting to take those vertical pictures for Instagram, make sure to check that video out. I will link it up in the card above. Now some different photo ideas when it comes to actual shots that I've seen that I really like. Really popular ones right now are the above and below water shots. They'll take a picture at the water level, so half their shot is underwater and half their shot is above water, just to kind of give that unique perspective. Another really popular one that I've seen a lot lately is the first person POV. I personally use a chest mount for shots like this, where you just have the chest mount. I'm gonna put it on. It kind of fits like a sports bra, so it's kind of like a man sports bra. And then this is the GoPro brand one, but you can buy these aftermarket as well. I'll link this up in the description box below. So these chest mounts are super handy when you're just needing both hands for whatever you're doing. I like to put my hands in the shot, or if I'm holding something, you can really kind of showcase what it feels like to be you, essentially. But these are really good for just a first person perspective. Another thing that a lot of people are doing with this, as well, as putting the grip upside down and then they hold it in their teeth like this. When you put the grip by your mouth, for some reason that's a lot more of an authentic look. There are also head mounts that people put on their forehead, but I do prefer upside down in the teeth like this. So GoPros have really no f-stop to play with, meaning you can't blur the background at all. Some ways you can make your photos cool with the lack of the f-stop is put your hand closer to the camera, put in an element up close to it, or just getting it very, very wide so you can see the entire depth of the shot. With this bad boy, I can only shoot 12 megapixel, but that's not that bad. So with a lower megapixel, I would definitely recommend shooting outdoors where there's a lot of natural light. If you're trying to be the subject in the photo, which I find myself doing a lot more than I probably should, put on a 3-second to 5-second burst, kind of let it run for a minute or two, so then you have a lot of options when you go in afterwards, so you get a couple different ones, just in case you blurred a photo or it's not framed the right way. If you are doing the selfie route, you can also shoot it in 60 frames per second and then pull a still from the video. I've done that a couple times just if I was in run and gun situations, but I would not recommend that as your primary way to do that. If you want a great photo, you need to actually take the physical picture. So if you're wanting to do that, I would definitely recommend doing the first thing that I said, which is to do the 3-second time lapse so you actually have a still photo to work with. So those are my recommended settings. Now we're gonna get into my recommended accessories to get better photos of all the things that we're talking about. People can spend a lot of money on these accessories, but really think of all the things that you're gonna do and how you can use one tool to maximize that for what you're shooting. So you can probably get the most out of a selfie stick, to be honest. People can use them for anything, but when it comes to Instagram, that's a really great way to take some great Instagram photos. You can just put it on a self timer, on that 3-second timer, put it out the selfie stick, and just point it at yourself and take some different ones that way. Another really unique one is a GorillaPod type of a mount. I would not recommend getting a true GorillaPod for a GoPro, but something like that with a bendy tripod that you can wrap around a pole or a tree and kind of get another unique perspective like we mentioned. I have the chest mount, the selfie stick, the headband, and then the last thing that I would recommend you get is some backup batteries. I got some off-brand batteries that are just some good backups. I think I have 4 of them, so this is a great way you can actually get some longer battery life depending on what you're shooting. So the ones that I use are Shark brand. I'll link these up in the description box as well, like everything I've been saying. But I like the Shark brand because it comes with a dual charger, so you can charge 2 of them at one time. Because I'll pre-charge all my stuff before I leave, and then I'll have 3 or 4 batteries for my one GoPro. And then if anything dies on the way, I just have another battery I can pop it in. Depending on what kind of activities you're doing is going to dictate what types of accessories that you're gonna wanna get. Now, some things to avoid when shooting with your GoPro is low light. That is the main thing. You do not want to go into a low light situation because these things have terrible ISO. Now, all jargon aside, what it means is don't shoot at night, don't shoot past sunset, or when there's limited lighting around. The best times to shoot are during the middle of the day, so around noon, outside where there's a lot of natural light. Pretty much anything you can shoot with a standard DSLR, I would avoid doing with a GoPro. If you can't get it with a DSLR, that is the optimal time to get it with a GoPro, just because it is a unique thing, it's a tight space, it's a unique perspective that you just couldn't get with another camera. I mean, when you have really nice cameras, it's really easy to rely on the amazing lenses or amazing camera bodies, but a lot of people really sleep on this as being a great option for taking some unique perspective photos. So my hope is after watching this video that you are inspired to go out there, take your camera off your shelf, and try and get some amazing shots. If you are posting some of these pictures on Instagram, make sure to tag me at Ryan_Snaadt. I would love to check out some of your photos. And if you guys are taking some cool pictures, I will give you guys a follow as well. To review, when you're capturing some of these photos, make sure you avoid low light situations, shoot in the middle of the day or when there's a lot of sunlight, play around with shooting vertical so you can put things on Instagram or Instagram stories. When taking selfies, make sure to utilize the 3-second time-lapse function. Shoot in the highest megapixel that you possibly can. If you're gonna use accessories, make sure to use the accessories that help you get the best photos possible and not just waste a bunch of money on stuff that you're never gonna use. If you can use a DSLR camera to shoot the photo, don't use your GoPro, use that instead. Mount the camera to as many different things as you can, whether it's yourself, your mouth, your head. Put it on a tree, put it on a pole, put it somewhere that's unique and somewhere that's gonna get a cool perspective. A lot of people underestimate what you can actually shoot with a GoPro, and I've gotten some of my favorite photos with that because it's just such an authentic and cool perspective way to get some amazing shots. If you're interested in the video side of things as well, I put together a free online training to help folks that are interested in learning how to start a freelance video business. In that free online training, I kind of detail my story, how I got into it, and how I'm making a 5-figure income on the side from shooting freelance videos, as well as some of the secrets that you need to know if you're wanting to get into that type of career path as well. If these tips were helpful to you in any way, make sure to let me know by giving this video a big thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.